Sunrise. How are you? Hi, I am the bear. What an exciting night. I'm actually very excited tonight. I have had to definitely refocus. Seems to be my theme every night that I have this going. So we'll get there. We will get there eventually. How is everybody's day going? How is their week been? Week is almost over. Doing great? Thank you. Thank you, Sunrise. That is very kind. Thank you. How is the moon treating everyone's emotions? Can you feel the new moon from tonight? The energy pulling you? Hi, Gen X, Lynn. How are you? It's good to see you. Welcome. Are you feeling it? It's been, I don't know, for me, it's been powerful, but I'm going to tell you guys why here in a little bit. You got to take care of yourself. Hi, BJ Edwards. How are you? Welcome. Welcome. Just a quick reminder to everyone coming in, this is a place of strength and kindness and a place of authenticity. Tonight, we're going to be talking about moon energy, gardening, and the growth that comes with that. We'll also like to invite you to remember as we get started that each of our truths is our truth, and that sometimes our truths may change, but that we come to this place with an open and an understanding and just a desire to learn and a curiosity to learn as we go. So I welcome you guys all in with that mindset, and we're going to get started. So welcome, everybody. Welcome. My name is CJ Berry. I am the author of this series, In Dreams the Soul Cries. First book is going to come out July 7th, A River of Tears, but the prelude is already available on Kindle Vella, and the first couple chapters are free. So I welcome you to go and take a look and see if you like it. Make sure you subscribe. There's a bio on there, a little bit more about me. Subscribe and comment. There's a survey on it. So I welcome you to go onto Kindle and find me, CJ Berry, and CJ Berry, and I got stuck. Sorry, CJ Berry, In Dreams the Soul Cries, A River of Tears, and Seeds of Tears. Seeds of Tears is available now. So, hi, Z Top Cop. I always get twisted on your name. Welcome. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Last week, we talked about dreams and dream interpretations and the universal truths of the 5 elements of our world. And I absolutely love the integration of magic into science, or science into magic. How shall we say that? I don't know. My belief is that magic is only that which we do not yet understand by science. We don't understand it, so we're afraid of it, or so it's unknown to us. So we got to put a label on it, so we call it magic. So I want to welcome you to open your mind to that thought process as we get going. Science is such a beautiful and important aspect of all parts of our life, and yet we have to be open to consciousness and to the things that science cannot yet explain. So we talked about last week, we talked about dreams, and we talked about the fire element in not only dreams, but in all things, how we see them, at least in our society. And that is, fire is one of those elements. And fire represents red, or often represents anger or a warning, like a stop sign. It's that universal that it is something we use. I don't know if that's internationally or not, a stop sign, but green means go, and green often represents the earth or growth. And so those are just universal things that we do that we all use. We talked about air and how it represents often in dreams rebirth and life, new beginnings, just that breath of fresh air, right? Coming out of the mother's womb is just a breath of fresh air. I don't know if it's fresh yet, but it's a breath of air. And then the earth. So often in dreams, the interpretation of earth can be confusing. So we have to look at how it's used. So when we look at dreams and earth and dirt and soil, they might represent different things. And so dirt may represent that something we need to look at to heal, whereas soil may represent growth or new beginning or being planted. It's amazing. And then we're going to look, we also looked at water and emotions. We're going to look a little deeper into the element of water today and the emotions and the pull it has in our emotions as we look into the element of space. And the element of space, as we take a look, we're going to take that look at it through the perspective of the moon today. So again, welcome everybody, and let's get started. A few more people in here I want to say hi to. Puck Elf is here. Welcome, love, welcome. Tim the Man is here. Welcome. It's so good to see you. Let's see, who else have I missed here? That looks, there's a few more in there, but it looks good. I welcome anyone on the outside to hop in and say hi as well. So as we take this deeper look into water and emotions and how emotions, Kathleen, oh my goodness, you guys, Kathleen is an author friend of mine. I just interrupted myself to say hi to her. I would like, if you're not following Kathleen, she is a wonderful author and similar to what I write on just emotional support for women and the healing journey for women. And so she is a great strength, and I just welcome you to follow her if you are not already. I'm going to get back on track now, but thank you. I'm so grateful to have you in here. So grateful to have you in here. So as we look at the emotions, I know my emotions have been exhausting this week, but sometimes when I'm in the moon cycle on the full moon, I feel powerful, and sometimes I feel exhausted. And so we're going to look at why and how to tap into those energies to try and bring us back to the powerful energy, so we're not feeling exhausted and drained all the time. As we do that, we're also going to look at the moon. While studying this podcast and getting ready for it, I always learn so much. I'm always on a beautiful journey with you guys. So if there's something you've learned, please share it along the way. I love it. But one thing that I've learned is how okay, let me just clarify. I was homeschooled, so I don't know everything. So I learn a lot while I'm studying. You have the moon, and if the full moon is, say, over here, the earth, and if the full moon is, say, over here, it's pulling this way. And then over here, there's no moon, right? So it's still pulling this way, pulling towards the moon. That's why you get a low tide on this side of the earth, and you get the high tide where the new moon is, because the full moon is pulling. So when we think of that beauty, right, of the power of the sky and the moon, we have to remember that the moon often represents infinity and limitlessness and just this huge, you're right, Kathleen, it is a beautiful, beautiful power that just is amazing. And when the balance of it, the push and pull constantly. And when we think of it in relation to gardening, then we think of it, okay, if it's pulling the ocean and it's pulling that so full, then you're going to see that as I'm just getting stuck on that, as it's pulling, think of it in our body. And water represents emotions, right? In all things, it's just so symbolic for emotions. And the moon is limitlessness, and this constant back and forth pull into our emotions, into a resting state, and into limitlessness. And right now, of course, we're exhausted if we're not practicing self-care, because our emotions have been pulled into limitlessness. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely a beautiful picture. And same with gardening. If you think of gardening, it says, I've read a lot that says that harvesting during the full moon is an amazing time. And if you think of it, it's pulling the energy, pulling that moisture up from the earth into the plants. This thing here is my spell jar, and it's lavender from my garden. And I harvest my lavender on the full moon. I will be going out and harvesting some more. And I will be selling these soon, just so you guys know. But I sell them when I'm in person. I just don't have my website set up yet. I'm getting to it. as we think of that pull and the energy from the earth, and we think of grounding deep into the earth and the energy the earth holds, and the moon has a limitless power to pull that all through, it is an amazing capture of the magic of this earth, just the inner workings of it. It's absolutely beautiful when you think of it that way, and of ourselves. Yes. Yes, the farmers, if you look at the Farmer's Almanac, it'll tell you that harvesting on the full moon is the best time to harvest plants because of the energy pulled from the earth and the nutrients it's pulling up with the water it's pulling up. It's beautiful how the inner workings all work. I'd like to tell you a little story of when I was a little girl. My absolute favorite movie cartoon when I was a little girl was Fievel Goes West. And in that movie, there's a point where the little girl mouse is singing to her brother because her brother is lost. And she sings, let's see if I can't sing. I'm going to preface this. I can't sing. So it goes, oh my goodness. Okay. Somewhere out there beneath the pale moonlight, someone's thinking about me and loving me tonight. Anyway, we wish upon stars. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to say sorry about that ahead of time. I mean, behind it now. Apologize, but I wanted to sing that because it's just absolutely. I sung it all the time when I was a little girl. Sure, it sounded better when I was a little girl, but just when I was writing about the moon, it made me think of that so much, and just singing to the love out there that is for us. Some of you maybe remember that recently I was talking about meditation, and a meditation that I had recently where I went into a deep meditation. It's the only time I've gone into a deep meditation. I really struggle at quieting the sounds in my head and the negativity of this world. And so I practice, and I do okay. I do calming and I do relaxing, but I don't often do go into deep meditation. And this one time, not too long ago, I went into deep meditation and I just saw myself floating in space in this black just sphere. And within a moment, I realized that I was inside of a giant eye as I was floating there. And the eye was looking at me. And it just overwhelmingly felt like the universe was saying to me, "You are seen." And in that, I want to say to each and every one of you today, you are so beautifully seen. The universe, the deity you worship, you are seen, you are known. Your plan on this earth, your choices, your emotions, your energy, so much seen that the moon was designed to pull our beautiful energy up. And I just think that's amazing. And I just felt like when I had that, I knew I needed to share that out to everybody else. So I want to thank you guys all for being here and for being a strength to me. Today, when I was having a hard time, I came across this video, and it was like it said that you can fight this battle. It may seem like a big battle, but you can fight this battle. And the reason you know you can fight this is because when you fight it again and again and you share your story, the next time you fight it, it may be a bigger battle, but the next time you will have an army behind you. And so I just want to thank you all, because that's how it feels today. It feels like at one point I was fighting alone, and now I'm fighting with an army behind me, in front of me, next to me, along the way. We're just charging in and just limitlessly, right? Charging in with our emotions limitlessly. And it's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I also want to point out the numbers have such a relationship to us, and numbers often hold either feminine or masculine energy. And I'm not talking male or female. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us, right? And the one often represents the masculine energy, and the zero often represents the feminine energy for obvious reasons. And in that aspect, when spells or prayers are written, or you see the repetitive numbers and they're brought to your attention and your awareness, you see 11, 11, 11, there's a masculine energy you're seeing and receiving, because it is, and it's a negative, not as in bad negative, but negative energy, whereas the feminine energy is the positive energy. It is all the even numbers. So when we take that perspective of the negative and feminine, right, or the negative energy and the positive energy, like a battery's energy, and then we go back to the moon and we think about the moon's energy, that when we're at the full moon, we're in a birth, a growth cycle, right? But we're also in this emotional wave, and feminine energy often holds this great emotion, right? This beautiful infinite emotion. And the masculine energy is constantly being pulled towards the feminine, right? It's this constant pull, push and pull. Think of it as batteries or as magnets or as the moon. And it's a beautiful strength when you think of it this way. And think of it as a plant, and the roots and the nutrition deep within the earth is the masculine energy. And as it pulls up through the rebirth of the life of the plant, you're pulling towards the feminine energy to give it rebirth. So you have the seed in there planted, and then the nutrition coming from the earth, and then this rebirth, and this is beautiful balance in life, a beautiful balance. And so as we think about that, the whole 2024 year, by the people who study numbers, and I'm just learning to study numbers, and math has never been my thing, but as soon as I started learning about the magical properties of numbers, I started learning about, I started liking math a little more. So I'm going with it, because hopefully it'll help me learn to like math a little more. And if you think of it, algebra and statistics, which I'm getting ready to start my statistics class, is nothing more than a spell, right? A spell, and an outcome comes out of it. And if I can look at math that way, I'm hoping I can make it through the statistics class. So we're just going to cross our fingers on that one. But if we look at it that way, 2024 is the sum of 8. And so the year 2024 is an infinite year of feminine energy. And just like, I was just like, what? As I was reading and studying about it, I was like, what? The year 2024 is an infinite year of feminine energy. So I don't know about you guys, but I am all in my feminine energy right now. And I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. And I'm going to let this emotion that the moon is pulling right now and release it into the universe in infiniteness, and just throw out there into the world. Hi, Love All Well. Thank you. I'm so glad to see you here. And Z Cop too. I think I already said hi to you. I'm not sure. And spread kindness and love. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, everybody that's just hopped in. I also want to talk about how, let's see, where are we at? So I want to read a little bit here. I have this book. Don't look at the Target discount on the top. I read about crystals a lot, and we're going to read a little bit about the moon crystal while we're talking about the moon. So a couple things that I found very interesting about the moon crystal is that it helps balance hormones during the feminine cycle. And I was like, what? I had gone really deep into the moon energy and the feminine energy of the full moon. And then I get out my book on crystals, and it says that it helps balance the feminine energy. It is effective, not limited. It is effective. It's not limited to women. Remember, energy is both masculine and feminine. If you want to balance means pulling it out to where it's supposed to be, right? It's going to level it out to where it's supposed to be. The moon crystal, or the moonstone, is a beautiful stone to help balance that energy, especially when we put it on our heart chakra and on our earth chakra, which I can't think of what that one's called now. the abdomen, which is the root chakra. I was calling it the earth chakra, and I knew that wasn't it. So if you think of it on the root chakra and the nutrition for the masculine energy pulling up to the heart chakra and then the head chakra as well, and just lay flat and meditate with the moonstones. I have not gotten moonstones yet, but they're going in my cart and I'm going to get some. Those are some. I have little moonstones actually. I got some little ones to start putting in my spell jars, and I hadn't thought of it, the complete correlation of it, until I was putting this together. So I'm just super excited. I'm super excited about it. I hope you guys are all as excited about it as I am. I hope you are. Anyway, and so I just thought that was an absolutely neat how it just ties all together into one neat little bundle, right? One neat little infinitely beautiful bundle, right? So anyway, so I'm going to go into why my energy was low this week. And this is just like this aha moment. I got my labs back from a doctor's appointment, and I am severely dehydrated, which reminds me that my tea is not here with me. I have some water, though. I've been drinking water a lot. But I'm severely dehydrated. So when you think of that in the aspect of self-care, how much self-care plays a role in your energy, right? As making sure we're hydrated, we're eating well. Eating well comes back to the nutrition, feeding ourselves nutrition as the earth feeds the plant, the nutrition, the water, the hydration from the water, and how that energy is pulling. So when you're dehydrated and the moon is like, give me all your emotions, and you're like, I just don't have it right now, then you're creating this negative impact between you and the moon. You're fighting that energy because you're not practicing self-care. And I was just like, that was so eye-opening to me on how important self-care is and how necessary it is for life. I'm going to read, this is my absolute favorite book, Warrior Goddess Training by Heather Ishamara. Helped me so much in life. I'm probably going to read out of it every week. I write all over my books, and I have given in my book, as when it comes out, large margins. So you may write all over it as well, because you can see here, I believe that this is a well-loved book. I'm also a corner folder, and I won't be offended if you fold the corners of my books. I know not everyone is. Shh, it's okay. It's okay, really. The simple truth is that when we fight change, we suffer. When we embrace change, we open to creativity, possibilities, and healing. Change is inevitable, but transformation is by conscious choice. While you do not always have control over how or when the change will occur in your life, you can choose how you are in reflection to that change, who you are in reflection to that change. When you step towards, rather than ignore, fight, and resist change, you reclaim your personal freedom. You step into a path of transformation and move from being a victim of change to being a co-creator with the change. And I just was like, so important to remember that as we go into each cycles of the moon, right? We have the full moon. I'm going to try and get this right. And then as the moon is getting smaller, it's the waning moon. And then as we have no moon, right? We go into the no moon. And then as the moon is getting bigger, it is the waxing moon. And we're going to talk more about those cycles of the moon each week, as we're in them, right? We're gonna talk a little bit each week over this next month. The next full moon is in June 21st, and it is the fire moon. No, the sun moon. I'm just so excited about that, right? The energy of the sun is just so powerful. I'm just like, whoo, I'm all excited to dive into that and read about it. But we're going to be leaving the flower moon, right, of the springtime of the rebirth, and going into the healing of the or to the energy of the sun moon. And as we do that, we're going to go through this dark time where there's no moon. And it's such a reminder of life that we go through these dark periods of life, right? This darkness that overwhelms us sometimes, and we feel like we're never going to come out of it. But just as the moon cycle, that's a needed path. So we can have that push and pull, that balance of energy. And it's in the darkness that we heal, like in the seed gathering the nutrition of the earth so that it can grow and flourish into the beauty of the day, of the light. It's such a beautiful gift. And I know when I say magic, some people see that as something foreign, and it's not. It's not foreign. It's who we are. It's what we know. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful gift. Anyway, so I'm working on my hydration to get back into balance, and I think that's so important. According to SciJinx.gov, right? We already talked about this. I skipped way ahead. My little artwork, I don't know if you can see it, my little diagram of the moon here. But that information I've got about the pushing and pulling of the moon is from SciJinx.gov. So there was a really interesting article, even had a video on it. So if you want to know more about that, I recommend going and watching that. If you don't remember it, you can DM me and I will send you the email address. Okay, so the next thing, I don't know why I just said okay, but we're going to go on. We need to remember that as human beings, we are 50 to 60% water. 50 to 60% water. When I'm dehydrated, I don't know what that means. I don't know. Does that mean I'm like, woo, only like 20% water? I don't know. But I do know I need, yes, I am the bear. That's correct. SciJinx.gov. That is correct. Thank you. I need to fix that. I really, really do need to fix that. So I want to talk about applying this to applying all these truths that we learn, these universal truths of the energy of the moon and the science of the moon and the magic of the moon. I want to apply that to meditation. So as we sit there and you go into meditation and you take a deep breath and you just picture the infinite of the moon and the sky, and the moon is just pulling you towards it, pulling your energy towards it. I want you to imagine your feet sunk into the earth. You're sitting there in the earth, and like a seed or like a plant, the nutrition from the earth is coming up through us, and it's pulling through all of our emotions up to the sky, up and into infiniteness, into beauty. Is a rebirth, like the little sprout that we've seen so many times on the Discovery Channel, right? Wiggling up through the earth as it's in fast forward and sprouting and just reaching up to the sky. It's what your energy is trying to do. And when you're stifling it, when you're holding it back, when we're not practicing self-care, we're causing that struggle to just be so much more. And we need to just let it flow out through us, right? And then next month's the sun energy. I'm just now picturing that. It's pulling out through us. And then the sun pushing back down through us. More nutrition. It's absolutely beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. I've gotten carried away this week because I really just like dove into it, sunk down deep. But because I needed it. I really needed it. I want to just review real quick. Water is emotions, right? The universal truth around water is emotions. In your dreams, if you feel water, think of it, okay, what are my emotions telling me? Your emotions are off. Maybe you need to drink water, right? It comes full cycle, this full balance, this cycle. Self-care is so important. The moon, the sky reminds us of limitlessness, right? In space. And then the flower, or we talked about the flower moon and how it represents newness, this rebirth, this blossoming of the springtime of our lives, springtime in our journey, and this absolutely beautiful strength of that. And then the feminine energy that is surrounded in rebirth, I welcome you to embrace that. And just embrace the feminine energy of you, of your emotions, of this healing and this rebirth, and just let it flow through you. Just let it flow through you. It's a beautiful. And then gratitude is so key, that we not only sit within this, but we sit within a gratefulness for this, the nutrients coming from the earth, of the moon's pull, of the limitless of our emotions and the beautiful strength that comes in that. So I welcome you to just sit there and be grateful for this And tonight, if you sit within the moon and you meditate under the moon, make sure that you practice gratitude not only for the gifts in your life, but for yourself, for all of the different parts of you, for your inner child. Welcome your inner child to come out and dance under the moon with you and just play and just remind your inner child how grateful you are for the man or the woman, your masculine, feminine energy, the balance of both in you. Just welcome it and be grateful for it and show that gratitude for the inner manager in you that tries to keep everything lined up in a row, and for the warrior in you. It's so beautiful. There's so many other parts of us, but we'll just stick to that one. I'll go on and on and on. And just the guardian in you that constantly tries to protect you. And sometimes that gets in the way, but we need to show that part of ourselves gratitude, right? The guardian in us sometimes comes in and wraps us up and holds us because of the stress or the anxiety. And while that's a beautiful gift and allows us to heal, and we need to say thank you to our inner guardian, we need to also remind our inner guardian that we have an inner warrior as well, right? And that our inner warrior is going to stand up and help us fight through this, knowing that guardian is right there to help us heal. It's a beautiful balance as we go forward. So cleansing and openness, don't forget. As I'm getting ready to close, I would like to remind you, first of all, I did a little bit in the beginning, that my first book is available for pre-order right now. I have 50 copies of that book coming to me in the mail. Those 50 copies are designated to donate to women's shelters, abuse shelters, domestic abuse shelters. And as I'm going to donate up to 50 of those books, I'm going to donate up to 50 books to those women's shelters and those domestic abuse shelters for the first 50 pre-orders I get. I'm at 3 right now. So I really encourage you. My link is in my TikTok, on all my bios. My link is on there. It'll take you to my link tree, and it'll take you to the link on my Amazon to pre-order the In Dreams the Soul Cries, A River of Tears, which is my personal journey through darkness and the tools I learned through healing. And so I encourage you, please help us meet that goal of getting those 50 out, and with the 50 pre-orders, and then it'll help me be able to cover the cost of donating those when you guys purchase a pre-order. So let's do this together. Remember earlier I said, you're not doing this alone. You're doing this with an army. You're doing this together. And so I welcome you to join that army with me so that I can donate those books and get them all out. The other thing that I want to remind you is Seeds of Tears. In Dreams the Soul Cries, Seeds of Tears is the prelude. And episode 1 and 2 are currently available on Kindle. And episode 3 is scheduled to come out on Sunday. And episode 4, Sunday, every Sunday between now and the July 7th, when my book releases, a new episode will be released. And I'm going to read to you just a little bit and a little excerpt from Seeds of Tears. Also remind you that Seeds of Tears, because it's on Amazon or Kindle Vella, the first, I want to say 2 or 3 chapters are usually free. So hopefully it's free for you. I think the only difference is if you are a Kindle reader already and you've used up all your frees or something like that. But anyway, so episode 1 for Seeds of Tears is called Seeds of Kindness. And my person that represents me in my books is a Zestel. A Zestelite is a beautiful crystal that represents healing through trauma, healing through darkness, and it's the first crystal that was used for therapeutic healing in that process. So here we go. How do you forget the taste of your favorite childhood treat? A Zestel wondered as she sat quietly meditating in her flower garden, watching the bees curiously hopping from flower to flower, as the tasted the sweetness of just as if it would just never satisfy. Closing her eyes once again, focusing inward, trying to drown out the noise of the world. The tires of a child's bike down the street seemed to be singing louder than the universe today. Her insecurities had been creeping up as she began this journey of stepping into her strength. I just need a sign, something, anything. And you can read the rest. So I welcome you to go on and to read that. I want to let you know that that little portion there, I had written about a dream and about a memory, and I was meditating on the dream and memory. And so that was happening in real time. That happened while I was trying to meditate. That whole section did. And then I came in and I was like, well, that just happened. I need to write it down. It was absolutely beautiful and deep and wonderful and full of love. So I welcome you to that. So I'm going to ask that when we're done here, and this is going to be my new thing at the end of my live shows, is that I want you to take a minute when you get done here. Oh, my board just fell on me. YouTube got to see that, but TikTok did not. So when who did that? Who came in with their little magiciness and decided to try and knock my whiteboard down on top of me? That one's not nice. I want you to write a note to yourself. Just jot it down somewhere and just write a love note to yourself. Whether it's simply you're beautiful, you're kind, you're strength. Maybe it's not to your core self. Maybe it's to one of the parts of yourself. Maybe you want to write this note to your inner guardian or your inner warrior or your inner child, and just reminding them, that part of you, how much you are loved. But I welcome you to just take a moment when we're done here and to just write yourself that little note. I like to stick them on my bathroom mirror so that I can reread them and see them time and time again. So I welcome you to do that when we're done. And remember, as below, so above. As above, so below. What we heal in darkness grows beautifully in the light. I'd just like to see if anybody has any questions before we are done. We have a little bit of time here for questions. If not, I'm going to address a question I had on one of my social medias, and a question of why I'm not dating and that or available. And that question is very simple. It's because I do believe that we know what we're looking for and we work hard to find what we're looking for, but we also know who we are and who we will be good for. And if we are just dating for dating's sake, then we are limiting ourselves. We're standing in our own way of personal growth, of energy, of where we should be. And so I would like to answer that question with the fact that it's not that I'm not, it is that I am working on myself in this journey. So that's one question that I'd like to answer. The other question is if I am a witch. And I would say to you that that depends on your definition of a witch. And so if your definition of a witch is the person who loves energy and believes in magic, then I guess that's what you're going to call me. I know quite a few witches, and I think they're absolutely beautiful souls. I also know that I believe way too much in science to be considered a witch by my own definition. And because I believe science is amazing in the interlocking of the two. So I am CJ Berry and a spiritual friend. So I answer that question there that I have been asked recently. So if we have any more questions, if not, I just like to thank everybody. I believe we hit a high tonight. I'm not sure. I think that I had 10 tonight altogether. I don't know. But I need that we're in and chatting.